first of all, thank you for joining for a conversation about comics this Sunday.
My pleasure.
Now, I am delighted to be talking with you, and I usually start by mentioning a couple of works. So, of course, your work with the Michael Moorcock universe of Elric comes to mind, Mr. Monster, Airboy, Batman, and of course, there are several other works that you've been part of.
Right. I've also done a number of years of writing scripts for the Disney comics, Uncle Scrooge, Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse.
Hmm. Yeah, which is very broad work as far as the kind of approach that you've taken. So I love that variety that you bring as well.
Well, I like challenging myself to stretch in different directions at different times. Plus, it
Yeah.
helps keep me employed. So I like that too.
True enough, true enough. So what is it about comics that sort of drew you in? What do comics allow you to do in telling the stories you want to tell?
It's a very personal medium where you can sit down. You don't need, 50 other people as a movie or a theater or anything like that. And if you're the kind of person that can also write as well as draw, you can do everything yourself and tell the stories that are in your head and put them on paper and hopefully get people involved in that story.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I know for me as a young reader, comics were right there. They were enticing and something that I've never just put down completely.
Yeah, I started when I was about, 7 years old, getting my first comic, and it pulled me in immediately. We would sometimes trade comics before school when I was a kid, and I was always at a disadvantage because I wanted the comics so badly that they didn't care that much. They could get a better deal out of me. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's never stopped.
Same here, same here. And I think I was about seven as well when I first started reading. Um, as you look back across your career and as you think about your experiences and interactions, and I mentioned a couple of titles, of course, that stand out to me, but any particular experience or collaboration that kind of bubbles to the surface for you?
Yeah, well, I was working with Craig Russell on Elric, as you mentioned,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
later George Freeman, both excellent artists that I really enjoyed working with. I spent 2 years working with Craig on a six issue series of the first Elric series, and two subsequent series with George Freeman, where we shared the art uh, chores and everything.
Hmm. Hmm.
Roy Thomas was doing the script adaptation for the Michael Moorcock things. I was also kind of excited when I first started doing some of the Disney stuff. I would be writing the stuff, and Stephen DeStefano was doing the artwork on the first Mickey Mouse stories that Disney ever published themselves, not giving it to Dell Comics or one of these other things, but actually published themselves. So that was kind of a thrill.
Yeah, yeah. And you mentioned Craig Russell, who is just a unique artist, brings a unique vision. And then there again, there's really nice variance between the fantasy world of Michael Moorcock and the world of Disney. So yeah,
Yeah, it was fun. And another major collaboration that I enjoyed was I got to work with Alan Moore on a
Mhm.
story featuring my Mr. Monster character, and that was a treat. It was just he sent me a really detailed, super detailed Alan Moore script, and it was just brilliant as always. And I had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, yeah. Did I see? I think I saw a Mr. Monster action figure that you posted the other day on social media. Is that accurate? Was that something that you just received or just sort of came across?
No, I was licensed to them, and it just came out a few days ago. This is actually the second Mr. Monster action figure. Another one came out last year from a different company, and there was a Mr. Monster mini statuette that came out about 15 years ago or so.
Yeah,
So we've had a
yeah,
few things.
yeah. I love that that character is still circulating, and another one of my favorites of your works as well.
Yeah, it's been my signature character, so I've been glad to be able to do it since I started working on it originally in 1983. So it's been a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as somebody that's spent some time in comics, I know that people sometimes sort of project about the future and they talk about comics as they are versus comics as they've been. Anything in particular that you'd like to see in the future of the medium?
Uh, I'd like to see it be more viable for uh, financially for people who are not necessarily in Marvel or DC
Hmm.
to be able to
Hmm.
make a living. You never know with, there's all sorts of weird things going on. Artificial intelligence. Some people are starting to make comic book stories with that. They just type in what's going to be in panel one, panel two, and it pops up.
Hmm.
Um, I hope that doesn't go out of hand. It's a cute little gimmick, but you can't. I don't think you can replace a real artist and a real writer, putting things together with
Yeah.
a bunch of pixels.
Yeah, I totally agree. The human voice is really important.
Hmm. But people have something actually to say.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
maybe with your basic mainstream media with your superhero battles week after week. Maybe it won't matter that much, but the more personal things, the Dan Clowes, the Bob Crumms, you can't match that.
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. So hopefully the human voice and the actual marking of artists continues to be something that's valued and esteemed, and more so than it has been even.
Hmm. It's a strange new world, so we're gonna have to see what happens with that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think I have one more official question
Hmm.
on my list. I did mention it was a commute-sized experience, so I hope that works well.
Hmm.
The final question that I usually ask is, what's coming up as far as your creative attention? What has your attention at the moment? And then, of course, where can people go to learn a little bit more?
Well, the big thing I'm working on now is a project. I've been doing Mr. Monster stories since '83, but they've been miniseries, working for a number of different publishers over the years. And what I'm doing now is I'm putting together what I hope to be the complete Mr. Monster,
Mhm.
gathering all that stuff from together. So the past year or so, I've been getting the best quality prints that I can. And when I've had some black and white stories, I've gone back and colored them. If I've had some stories that were colored, but I wasn't happy with them because there were deadline problems or whatever, I've gone back and recolored them completely. One story I completely re-edited because it was editorial hands changed it in a way I didn't like, and now I had the opportunity to bring it back. So that's my big thing for this year.
Nice, nice. And then that point of connection, social media spaces, convention spaces, or any of those sort of places that you like to be part of.
Yeah, I have a Facebook page, so anybody wants to do Michael T. Gilbert on Facebook, you can find me. I usually post some interesting things on there all the time.
All right, all right. Well, anything that we've missed that you want to make sure to share on our brief conversation?
No, just that I still love comics after all these years, and I'm curious to see what happens in the future.
Yeah, likewise, likewise, absolutely. Michael, thank you for the time. Glad to have you back anytime, and I appreciate the work that you've done and that you're doing.
Well, thank you, sir.
Absolutely.